I gave up the bright moonlight that I had pursued for so many years, turned my back on marrying the sick general who was once despised by people like a snake. Everyone scolded me for being ungrateful, but only I knew that she was my true love in my previous life. I defied everything to pursue the beauty queen for many years. But she colluded with my best friend, harmed my family, and led to bankruptcy. Just because you want to appropriate my property. When Tam Truck Tam ran over, she only saw me lying on the ground, a knife stuck in my head, blood all over my body still convulsing, blood constantly flowing from my mouth. No matter how worried Tam Truck Tam was, he couldn't hold it. At that time, Tam Truck Tam hugged the man she loved the most and cried until her heart was broken. Lai Tin Van, please wake up. As long as you wake up, I will agree to everything. If you don't like me, I swear I will never appear in front of you again. I gently raised my hand to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes, whispering, Truck Tam, in this life I'll take one step forward, in the next I'll change back. I'll protect you. Having finished speaking, I closed my eyes and stopped breathing. She hugged my body, extremely miserable, without any will to live. After that, she took me back to the north. My soul is always following the noble and strange girl. At this time, she was meticulously cleaning my body and changing my VC outfit. Pointed to Chi, then she put on makeup like a beautiful bride. Lie down next to me, take out the dagger from the drawer. She clasped one hand in mine, the other stabbed a knife into her heart. I felt a sharp pain and tears fell. Then my G Nebula was in so much pain, he chose to die the same way as me. The moment she closed her eyes, she smiled serenely. I witnessed her avenging me with my own eyes. Then I saw her wearing a wedding dress, lying with me in a martyr coffin. My soul felt like it was being torn apart, regret overflowed. I hugged her body, sobbing, crying until my soul trembled. Shut Truck Tam, don't. I woke up, sat up, panting. A few minutes later, I regained consciousness. Tears continued to fall, making me tremble. Have I come back to life? Tam Truck Tam, why are you so moldy? Is it because of me? The sound of the phone on the table broke the silence. I quickly wiped my tears and looked at the time on my phone. That was 2 months before I died. I don't want to see Tam Truck Tam, I want to see her safe and sound. So I rushed to her office. The moment I pushed the door open, I saw a man sitting in her chair, playing with something in his hand. Looking closely, I realized it was the baby BZ bracelet that Tam Truck Tam loved the most. I suddenly asked, who are you? Why are you in Tam Truck Tam's office? And pawning her things? Vong Q Kien recognized me as soon as I walked in. His angular face, cold temperament, and wonderful appearance. It's hard to look away. No wonder Tam Truck Tam is so in love with him. Thinking of this, Vong Q Kien's attitude became worse. Tam Truck Tam is my fiancé. What right do you have to ask my fiancé? My face became unsightly, my mood was like sitting on a roller coaster, without any of the initial excitement. Seeing my disappointment, Vong Q Kien gloated in his heart and said, Young Master Mok Lai, don't you know that the Tam family and the Vong family are about to get married? He stood up, walked in front of me, arrogant. Didn't you break off your relationship with Tam Truck Tam for the sake of the Bok family's stepdaughter? Are you still talking about this? In the end, who else but her? Have you forgotten what I said? Now Tam Truck Tam and I are about to get engaged. Give me some advice. Don't lose it before you can appreciate it. No one will foolishly stand still and wait for you to turn around. Hearing that, my lips trembled. I remember my previous life. When I was a child I was carefree, surrounded by my parents and sister. My world was like a blank sheet of paper, without any dust. That's why I believed Bok Nuok Hai's words many times, eventually falling to a tragic end. Hearing Vong Tu Kien's words, I stood there silently, a bit stunned. At this moment, the office door was suddenly pushed open. From outside, Vong Tu Kien's gentle voice rang in my ear, "Truck Tam, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." This arrogant attitude is completely different from when he talked to me. It's a 180-degree change. I turned my back to the door. Even without turning around, I knew who it was. Hearing Vong Tu Kien call Tam Truck Tam, he frowned. "What are you doing here?" This tone made the surrounding atmosphere freeze. I didn't immediately turn around, but when I heard those cold and distant words, tears immediately fell. I tried to suppress my emotions, but Vong Tu Kien's words kept appearing in my mind. Whenever I think about her past life, she sacrificed herself for me. I cry like rain, heartbroken. I bowed my head, walked quickly out, without looking up at the people in the office. Before Tam Truck Tam could react, I stepped into the elevator, looking at my back in her eyes. A look of loss flashed through her eyes. My chest feels like it's been stabbed by a needle. It hurts. I'm the type of person who can't hide anything in my heart. As long as there's something wrong, I'll show it on my face. Even though she couldn't see my face, she knew I misunderstood. Actually, that saying was for Vong Tu Kien. She looked up at the man still standing in her office, his eyes cold. "Mr. Vong, please call me Tam Tong, like everyone else. Furthermore, my company and I are only in a cooperative relationship. You have no right to call me directly by name." After hearing this, Vong Tu Kien immediately smirked, not paying attention to Tam Truck Tam's attitude. On the contrary, he was very happy because Tam Truck Tam always spoke sparingly with him. He advised, "Truck Tam, you know our royal family intends to get married. I admire you very much. Wouldn't it be great for our two families to join forces?" Hearing that, Tam Truck Tam radiated a cold aura and looked at him with sharp eyes. Vong Tu Kien was stared at to the point of being a bit embarrassed. He was about to say something but was coldly interrupted by Tam Truck Tam. "Mr. Vong, you have no right to interfere in my marriage with the Vong family. Also, what did you say to Lai Tin Van just now? Even if you didn't say it, I would know. Does Mr. Vong not know that he is my limit? Tam Truck Tam, how dare you speak rudely to my people? Surely she also has the ability to help Vong T's business reach new heights. If Vong T is not willing to cooperate, then there is no need to reluctantly cooperate anymore. This ends here." Fong Tu-hai pushed the door and walked in. Since Tam Truck Tam took over Tam T, he has always been by her side. It can be said to be a powerful arm. Tam Truck Tam only needed one glance and Fong Tu-hai knew what to do. "Mr. Vong, please come out." Vong Tu Kien glanced at Fong Tu-hai and angrily left Tam T. Fong Tu-hai walked next to Tam Truck Tam, gave her the laptop in his hand. Tam Truck Tam took it and silently stared at the screen inside that was playing the surveillance video just recorded in the office. Miss Fong Tu-hai calmly said, "Please click like and comment to support the channel. If you find it good, you can donate to me to help me create more interesting content. Thank you very much everyone. Tam Tong, I have warned you that from now on, except for Lai Tien Sin, other people without permission are not allowed to enter your office." Tam Truck Tam put the laptop down on the desk, picked up the baby AC bracelet and threw it into the trash. After that, she went into the break room, washed her hands, and took out her car keys from the drawer. With a cold face, she said to Fong Tu-hai, "Change everything in the office. I'll go." Office worker, secretary with less than a month's salary, Tam Truck Tam sat in the car, remembering the words he said when confessing his love to Lai Tin Van. "I said I don't like you. Don't bother me anymore. The person I like is Bak Nuakai. I will only marry her. From now on, we will go our separate ways. Don't contact us anymore. Every time I remember it, Tam Truck Tam's heart aches. Lai Tin Van, what do I have to do to make you love me a little? If I were there, I would definitely rush to hug her and say, I love you. True Nan is the biggest bar in my city. I held the handle, both hands resting on the bar counter. Even though I was a bit drunk, my charming voice remained undiminished. Even though I was in the main lobby of the bar, even though I was drunk, those young ladies were still attracted to me, but no one dared to come and get to know me. True Nan is the area of Ko Nop Then, the eldest lady of the Ko family. Everyone knows that I am the most pampered son of the 4 great families. Offending me, my life is not enough to pay for it. But there are always people who don't know whether to live or die. A woman wearing a long white dress put down a glass of wine in front of me and teased, "You're handsome, I like you. Come with me tonight. I guarantee you can do anything in high tea in the future." I glanced at her, tilted my head back to drink the glass of wine, and lazily said bluntly, "That's it." Having finished speaking, I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes. My face was red from being drunk, just sitting there radiated irresistible charm. Hearing that, the other woman was not angry at all. She said loudly, "Do you know who I am? I am Lu Deepmai, second lady of the Lu family. In my opinion, you will not lose anything." The bar manager saw that the situation was not good and rushed over. He thought to himself, is this Lu Deepmai planning to cause trouble? This lady is not someone he can offend. After all, he had also heard about Lu Deepmai. The Lu family loved this daughter like crazy. She once caused a second-rate actor to commit suicide and was still unharmed, so there must have been someone behind her. Lu Deepmai pushed the manager who was blocking in front of me away and scolded, "Who are you? You dare to take care of my business? Today, no matter who you are, I have to play." After she finished speaking, she reached out to pull me. Before I could touch it, my wrist was grabbed tightly by a strong hand, making it impossible to move. "It hurts. Who are you to dare arrest me? Let go, ruin my good deeds, I will make you look good." Lu Deepmai was in so much pain that her face was distorted. The people watching the play were scared when they saw the person coming and quickly ran over and said, "Tam Tong, Lu Deepmai, she built it. Please, General Tam, forgive her." The appearance of Tam Truck Tam startled them. They quickly ran over, bending their backs and bowing their heads, afraid that the fire would spread to them. Tam Truck Tam shook his hand, his voice cold as ice, "Get out." She turned around to look at the man who was closing his eyes, leaning back in the chair, his face red from being drunk. Tam Truck Tam stood looking at me for a moment before leaning down, reaching out to touch my cheek. She stopped. The words of love I said when I rejected her kept flashing in her mind. She sighed helplessly, intending to withdraw her hand. But I suddenly grabbed her hand. She looked at me with my eyes open, eyes filled with passion, but inside she tried to control herself. I grabbed her sleeve, tears in my eyes, and asked, "Are you getting married?" She looked at me with a surprised expression, complex emotions welling up in her eyes. She raised her hand to stroke my nose. "Do you believe what others say but not what I say?" Tam Truck Tam pretended to be serious and looked at the man staring at her. Seeing that I no longer resisted, she came closer, bent down and kissed me lightly on the lips. "I'm drunk. Let me take you home." When she bent down, Tam Truck Tam did not expect that my next action would confuse her thoughts. I opened my arms and hugged her neck. Tam Truck Tam's heart was beating wildly, almost stopping breathing. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Going home?" Just a few seconds later, she regained consciousness, the corner of her mouth showing a charming and gentle smile. "I want to go. I'll take you." When I got home, she helped me sit on the bed, took off my coat and shoes, and gently covered me with a blanket. She stood up and walked towards the bathroom. The moment she turned her back, I was lying on the bed and suddenly opened my eyes. His eyes were clear, not like he had just fallen asleep. Actually, I woke up in the car when Tam helped me upstairs and took off my coat. I just didn't know what to say to her at that time, so I closed my eyes and pretended to sleep. Luckily, she went to take a shower. At this point, I breathed a sigh of relief, lost in thought. The door opened, and a beauty like a newly bloomed lotus stepped out from inside. She wrapped a towel around her body, but still couldn't hide her graceful figure. Tam looked at me lying on the bed, eyes sparkling with tears. Feeling a little anxious in my heart, I stood still in front of the bathroom door, not daring to step forward. I was a bit stunned by her sudden appearance, looking at her seductive body. I couldn't react in time. After a while, I regained my composure and realized that I had just been staring at Tam, my face red. We must admit that this woman is not only beautiful and has a superior temperament, but her figure is also perfect, impeccable. Tam was stunned for a moment, looked down at herself, then turned around and went into the dressing room. A few minutes later, she emerged in black silk pajamas. I couldn't help it. I reached out to her and gently waved. Secretly Tam, she seemed lost, took small steps to sit next to the bed. I said seriously, "You still haven't answered the question I asked at the bar." She was silent for a moment then smiled. "What answer do you want to hear?" I looked at her teasing expression, sadly, said, "Vang Tu said he is your fiancé, you two are about to get married. If you're about to get married, why are you still teasing me?" Tam burst out laughing. "Because of me, I'm the one who always keeps a distance from her. Every time she confesses her love, I cruelly reject her. She has never blamed or hurt me, but now just because of a few unverified words from outsiders, I question her." She sighed helplessly. "Don't you like me and want me to stay away from your life? After knowing that I'm getting married, I'm so sad. Isn't it good for you that I get married?" Hearing that, I quickly sat up, grabbed her hand, and explained, "It's not like that." I hesitated. My heart felt like it was being strangled by an invisible hand. I couldn't calm down, sweat was beading in the quiet space. She looked at me without looking away, her eyes filled with emotions, speechless. My red eyes and tear spots at the corner of my eyes made me look even more pitiful. Tam suppressed the pain, looked straight into my eyes, his voice was gentle. "I know that in the past I was stupid and listened to other people's advice. I even said a lot of hurtful things to you. But since you took care of Tam, our relationship has become more and more distant. The number of times we meet is only at the fingertips. In addition, Bok Nuok Hai keeps saying that you work cruelly and have no compassion for people. Many companies that offended you are forced to leave Haiti, but now I know that they are taking advantage of you. I have told you many times, but you don't listen." Tam was silent, listening to me. A flash of fame flashed in his eyes. I turned my head to look at the woman sitting next to the bed, her eyes red. I reached out and placed my hand on her tightly clenched hand, expressing the worry and pain in my heart. She unconsciously let go of her hand. I raised my hand to pat her cheek, gently calling her name. Tam. Hearing that, Tam trembled slightly. Her eyes sparkled with unconcealed joy, her eyes gradually became hot, looking at me without blinking. Tam, I'm sorry. I said a lot of things that hurt you before, but in the future it won't be like that anymore. I know you like me very much, and in the future I will also learn to like you. I looked straight into her eyes and spoke clearly and seriously. Dong Tu Tam Truck Tam withdrew his heart and beat loudly. She looked at me with wide eyes, in disbelief. Lai Tin Van, if you're just in a bad mood right now and want to find someone to comfort you, I can be by your side. But don't say these words to me easily, I'll take them seriously. Rest early. Having finished speaking, she went out and closed the door. She leaned against the wall outside the door, the smile in her eyes unable to be hidden. The corners of his mouth kept curling up. She leaned against the wall, mumbling. Lai Tin Van, you said you wanted to learn to like me. Then I will never let go of your hand again. I looked at the closed door, smiled, then pulled up the blanket, turned around, buried my face in the pillow, inhaling the same scent of hyacinths as on Tam Truck Tam. In my heart I silently resolved, secretly Truck Tam, in this life I will definitely love you well. Not long after, I fell asleep. Tam Truck Tam lay on the bed in the living room, my sincere and serious expression constantly appearing in my mind as I spoke. Heart filled with anticipation. The next morning, Tam Truck Tam drove me home. Early on, I opened the car door, got out and then returned to the window corner. The window lowered, I bowed slightly, smiled, leaned close to her face, and spoke softly. Truck Tam, what I said last night was true. I will definitely like you like me. Having finished speaking, before she could react, I kissed her on the cheek, then turned around and ran away. Tam Truck Tam was surprised, his face looked unbelievable. When she regained consciousness, she could only see my back walking through the door. She raised her hand to touch the spot I had just kissed, as if recalling the intimate scene just now. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. Returning to the bedroom, I looked at myself in the mirror and muttered. Tam Truck Tam, are you blind? Everyone sees that I like you, but you hurt me time and time again. At Tam Tea Group, Tam Truck Tam pushed open the office door, walked in, saw Ko Nopton lying on the sofa, his legs resting on the tea table, an arrogant look on his face. He looked at her with searching eyes. Tam Tong, a new workaholic like you, are you late for work today? His tone was a bit teasing. Tam Truck Tam walked over, without saying a word, kicked his feet off the tea table. You're being rude here. Do you want to be thrown down from the 28th floor? Ko Nopton looked at his friend with a cold face and noble temperament, always feeling that there was something different about her today. Therefore, the words he said next were almost provocative. Tam Truck Tam, why do I see something strange about you today? Tell the truth, are you about to marry Vong Tu Qian, the second young master of the Vong family as rumored? Tam Truck Tam felt speechless. His eyes were as sharp as knives, as if he wanted to kill the person talking nonsense in front of him. If you want to die, I can see you off for a while. There's no need to stay here to make me feel disgusted. Hearing her cold voice, Ko Nopton smiled and said, That's right. How can that kind of ordinary man compare to our soft and lovely Van? Hearing the name I miss day and night, the cold air around Tam Truck Tam disappeared, replaced by warmth. Ko Nopton saw her change in emotions, shook his head, and thought to himself, she seems to have drowned in Tin Van's hands. After Tam Truck Tam sat down in his chair, Ko Nopton was suddenly surprised and said, Let's see how you plan to deal with the Liu family, little Liu. That Deep Mai usually likes to cause trouble. I closed my eyes to let it go, now it dares to poison Tin Van, can you still stand it? The bar is his territory, normally he doesn't care about those hot boys causing trouble at his bar, but that doesn't mean they can touch his people. The Liu family is about to perish. Tam Truck Tam did not raise his head, his cold voice rang out. I know she is angry. Last night, she didn't deal with Lu Deepmai on the spot out of respect for Tin Van who was there. If you already have plans, then I have nothing else to do, I'll leave now. At this time, the Lu family is extremely worried. Early in the morning, Lu Tan received a phone call from the company, saying that a number of large contracts had recently been cancelled, failed miserably, violated the contract, and did not want to cooperate with them anymore. Stock prices continuously decreased. Lu Fu called close friends, but the answers they received were all due to Tam T's actions. Whoever dares to cooperate with the Lu family is confronting Tam T. Tam T is not only the head of the 4 great families in high tea but also the leader in all professions. Many businesses rely on cooperation with the 4 great families. No one dares to confront Tam T. Otherwise, there is only death. Lu Fu arrived at Tam T Group and waited all morning, but only met assistant Feng Tuhai. Feng Tuhai seemed to have said something to him. Then, seeing Lu Fu angry, he got in the car and told the driver to drive home at the fastest speed. As soon as she entered the door, she saw Lu Ma sitting on the sofa playing with the new jewelry she bought at the mall. He immediately became angry. Lu Mao immediately felt Lu Fu's anger and quickly stood up. "Husband, what happened?" Lu Fu slammed the scrub cup and the maid put it on the ground. Recalling Feng Tuhai's words, his face was extremely ugly. "Lady Lu, you should go back and ask what your second lady did." After speaking, he angrily shouted upstairs. "Lu Deepmai, where is that ungrateful girl? Tell her to come down here for me." So, the maid hurried upstairs to call. Not long after, Lu Deepmai leisurely went downstairs, a sleepy look on her face, and said angrily, "What's that noise so early in the morning?" Lu Fu couldn't bear it anymore, stepped forward and slapped Lu Deepmai hard in the face. Lu Mao felt swollen and quickly pulled her daughter back. Lu Deepmai couldn't believe it either, that slap woke her up. Looking at his daughter's swollen face, Lu Fu's anger subsided a bit. He shouted, "What stupid thing have you done? Dare to offend Tam T's people?" Now the company's stock price has dropped miserably. Many companies have to pay compensation contracts. Hope for cooperation is gone. The company's capital is about to be broken. Whether we can overcome it this time or not is unknown. Lu Deepmai looked at her father who was sitting on the sofa, trying to remember what happened last night at the bar. It's not that she doesn't remember anything about last night, she just doesn't remember who that person was. She picked up the phone and called the person she drank with last night. "Did the people at the bar last night know?" The other end of the line said something. Lu Deepmai let her hand hang down, holding the phone, with a look of horror on her face as she looked at her father who suddenly aged a few years. The voice on the other end of the line was not loud, everyone heard it. Lu Mao, on weekdays, does not come into contact with people from the 4 great families, but she also knows that if she offends the uncle and aunt of the 4 great families, there is still a way out. But if they offended a young master recognized by the 4 great families, the consequences were not something they could bear. Lu tea is finished. Lu Fu bowed his head. He had just heard that his unfilial daughter dared to tease the young master of the Lai family. He was very lucky that he was not tortured to death by the Tam family's people on the spot. Fortunately, in the business world, he always does business honestly. Lu Ti considered sacrificing her daughter's life. An hour later, the financial channel broadcast the news. Lu Ti went bankrupt, Lu Ti shares declined, shareholders simultaneously sold off Lu Ti shares. Declaring bankruptcy, the Lu family withdrew from High Tea. Tam Tea Group acquired a certain commercial center belonging to Lu Ti. After waking up, I looked at the news on my phone, the corner of my mouth curled up, and my heart was filled with resentment. I don't remember anything about what happened at the bar last night. My temper is very good, As long as I don't get so drunk that I pass out, I remember everything that happened. I know clearly that this is Tam Truck Tam protecting me. I open my phone and send her a text message. In the meeting room on the 25th floor of Tam T Group, the space is so quiet that you can hear each other's breathing. Tam Truck Tam sat in the chair position, his face solemn, exuding an inviolable majesty. The director of the marketing department stood there trembling. Everyone in the meeting room looked at each other, surprised by this message. Everyone held their breath, thinking to themselves, who is so bold, daring to not turn off the phone during Ms. Tran's meeting? Tam Truck Tam coldly looked around. At this moment, Assistant Fong Tu Hai's voice rang in her ear, "Tam Tong, your phone." Normally, people who send messages to her personal phone are not work-related. She took out her phone and looked at the message. There was a smile in his eyes. "Truck Tam, are you busy? Are you free to have dinner with me tonight? I give you 2 days to submit a useful plan. If not, then pack your things and get out of here. Tam T doesn't support useless people." After speaking, she took the phone and walked out of the meeting room, leaving the people in the meeting room looking at each other in bewilderment. Everyone looked towards Fong Tu Hai. How scary! In the entire high tea, there was only one person who could make their general manager show such an expression. He coughed lightly. "Someone saved your lives. Don't rush to change your plan." Tam Truck Tam sat in his office, staring at the messages on his phone as if he could see the sender of the messages through the screen. As she was about to answer, the screen lit up again. "That's okay, another day is fine." She was stunned and replied almost immediately, afraid that the other person would change his mind. "Tonight is fine. What do you want to eat? I'll make a reservation." After sending the message, I sat on the rocking chair on the balcony, leisurely waiting for a response. A long while later, the phone still didn't ring. I think she must be busy. Moreover, I just said those words to her last night, and today I suddenly asked her out to eat, a bit hasty. Thinking for a while, I sent another message. I put the phone on the shelf on the balcony, lying on the swinging rocking chair. At this time, the phone screen suddenly lit up. I picked up the phone and smiled. "I want to eat food at Tay Tulan A restaurant. Tay Silan A is also one of Ko Nathan's assets. 70% of the cuisine in high tea is related to him." Seeing the reply message, Tam Truck Tam called Fong Tu Hai to book a private room in Tay Tulan A. "I'm having dinner with Tin Van Si tonight. Tell them to prepare his favorite dish. My father and I asked Truck Tam to have dinner tonight, so we can come home late." My father heard that I was with Tam Truck Tam, so he didn't ask much, just told me to drive carefully at Tam T Group. Tam Truck Tam buried his head in work for 2 hours, and finally finished all the contracts on the table. She looked at the clock on the computer, turned off the computer, and hurried out. When Tam Truck Tam arrived at Tay Tulan A, I sat in the private room she had booked, drinking juice. The door opened. I raised my head to look at the person coming, a smile on my face. "Truck Tam, you're late." Tam Truck Tam walked next to me, pulled out a chair and sat down. "Sorry, there's traffic on the way. Why don't you eat first? Next time if you're late, I'll eat first and won't wait for you." After I finished speaking, I immediately called the waiter. The waiter brought the dishes one by one, all of which were my favorites. During the meal, Tam Truck Tam continuously cut food for me. I leaned back in the chair and rubbed my belly, muttering, "So delicious." Tam Truck Tam laughed, his eyes filled with love. After the meal, because he was afraid that I would feel uncomfortable after eating too much, Tam Truck Tam did not drive home but took me for a walk nearby. 2 people walked side by side on a bustling street, with colorful lights and traffic flowing by. I suddenly stopped walking. "What's up?" Tam was a bit confused. She didn't know what I was thinking right now, so she didn't dare come too close, afraid I wouldn't be happy. I pouted a bit. Tam, are we dating?" She was stunned, her whole body tense, covered in sweat. Hearing that, she nodded seriously. Seeing her reaction, I became even angrier and snorted coldly. "So, have you seen what other couples are doing walking around?" Tam looked around, a bit confused. "Tin Van, this is the first time I'm going out to eat alone with you. I've never had a boyfriend. I don't know what guys need to prepare when going on a date. What am I doing wrong? Can you tell me?" I waved at Tam, signaling her to come closer. I reached out and patted her head. "Idiot, I'll die of stupidity. People on dates have to hold hands." Looking at my teasing expression, she breathed a sigh of relief. I took the initiative to hold her small hand. Our 4 eyes looked at each other. I said seriously, Tam, you said you would like me, it wasn't a joke. I know you're afraid I'm not happy, so you're always careful with every step, I know. Actually, I'm really looking forward to and having fun with tonight's date. In the past, I've done too many things to hurt you. In the future I won't be like that anymore. Tam, I will gradually accept your feelings, you don't need to be careful like that. In front of me, I won't be angry with you." Tam looked at me, his heart filled with sadness. Her guy doesn't need to change anything. No matter who I am, she accepts it. She didn't say anything, just held my hand tightly. The two of them walked like that for a long time until I was tired. She just called the driver. The driver arrived very quickly. Tam and I boarded the car one after another. From the moment I got in the car, I didn't say a word. A moment later, the car stopped in front of the Lai family's villa, but I still didn't move. I think time passes so quickly when I'm with the person I love. At this moment, insecurity rose in Tam's heart, but she did not dare to ask. She's afraid the answer won't be what she wants. Tam gently said to me, looking out the window, "Tin Van, here." I turned my head and kissed Tam on the lips. He even licked it lightly, then opened the car door and quickly entered the villa. Tam was stunned, unable to react in time. It wasn't until the driver called twice that she regained consciousness. After that, tell the driver to return to Back Veen. In the bathroom at Back Veen, Tam stood under the shower, remembering my kiss in the car. Still has some aftertaste. She turned the shower to cold water, but her body temperature still could not drop, even under cold water. At the same time, I finished showering, lying in bed, recalling the events that had happened in the past few days, when the phone on the table suddenly lit up. Seeing that the name of the person who sent the message was Bok Noak Hai, I immediately acted angry. Really disgusting. Open your contacts and change your name to Bok Kin Ba. Lai Tin Van, you and Mr. Trake are just normal friends. That day, he was sad, I just comforted him a little. Don't misunderstand. Lai Tin Van, you are so generous, Trake is also your friend. You certainly don't want him to be sad, right? Lai Tin Van, I'm hospitalized. Can you come visit me? Last night, when I came home from work, I was beaten by a group of men in black. They said it was because of Tam's orders. Lai Tin Van, he knew clearly about the relationship between you and me and still dared to order someone to beat me. Has he still not given up on you? Lai Tin Van, can you come to the hospital to visit me tomorrow? I miss you very much. Looking at the messages sent continuously, I want to roll my eyes. You call him Mr. Trake so intimately, do you think I'm a moldy thing? Hospitalization is worth it. Wish Tam didn't send someone to beat her to make her more disabled, but she still had strength. Send me a message. Wanna play? I will play with you guys. I mumbled, slowly typing on the phone screen, showing a sinister smile. Why are you hospitalized? Is it serious? I'll come visit you tomorrow. It's really because of Tam. I'll go find him and settle the matter. Trying to suppress my disgust, after replying to the message, I threw the phone aside, giving me goosebumps. Thinking for a moment, I picked up my phone again and sent a voice message to Tam. Tam, I heard that your people beat Bok Nuok High, right? When Tam received the text message, she was sitting in the back seat of the car preparing to go home. Listening to my voice message, my gentle voice cannot express my feelings right now. Her heart tightened, her whole body emitted cold air. Tamju sat in the driver's seat and felt the change in his hostess's temperament. Even though the air conditioning was turned on in the car, he was still chilled by the cold air. When she sent Tamju to deal with Bok Nuok High, she had no intention of hiding it. Even let Tamju warn Bok Nuok High that Tam's people are not the kind of useless illegitimate children that she can mess with. If she normally received my voice message, she would be very happy. But now, she is not happy at all. Her dark eyes revealed a barely detectable hurt. She replied, I sent someone to do it, she doesn't deserve your love. But her typing fingers trembled slightly. She is afraid that the happiness that is difficult to obtain today will disappear. Thinking of this, her heart ached. Tam Dyke looked through the rearview mirror and saw her mistress clenching her fists, an angry look on her face. You secretly taught people without telling me, you have to settle the matter with me. Listening to my next voice message, the corners of Tam's eyes turned red and a forced smile appeared. Then, she put down the phone and told Tam Dyke to go to the Lai family. Tam Dyke didn't say anything, silently drove towards the Lai family's villa. The car stopped in front of the Lai family's villa gate. Tam raised his head to look at my still-lit room on the second floor. Suddenly there was a knock on the car window. She looked at Lai Tuet standing outside the car, lowered the window, and asked, Why are you here? After arriving at the gate, Lai Tuet also sat in the car for a while. As soon as I got out of the car and was about to go into the house, I saw Tam's Cin Nan parked on the side of the road. She looked up at her brother's room on the second floor and then back to the car to look at the noble woman in the car. At this time, her eyes were red, her sad expression no longer had the same radiance as usual. Tin Van knows about me sending someone to beat Bok Nuok High. He's angry at me and says he wants to settle accounts with me. She spoke softly. Lai Tuet knew that it was because of Tam's incident. Both her father and her sent people, just not as fast as her. Lai Tuet looked up at the second floor and asked, Do you want to go up? Or should I go talk to him and ask him if he wants to come down? Seeing that she didn't say anything, Lai Tuet glanced at her. She immediately understood, nodded at her and entered the house. Cup. The sound of knocking sounded outside. I stood up and opened the door, seeing Miss Hai standing in front of the door with her head bowed. Second sister, did you just come home? Did you go out to drink? Why did I smell alcohol as soon as I opened the door? I was about to say that Hai secretly went out without inviting me, but before I could open my mouth, I heard Lai Tuet seriously ask, Do you really like Tam? I was a bit surprised. Sister Hai never asked me about the story between me and Tam. What's going on tonight? I nodded, of course I like it. I just came back and saw Tam's car parked downstairs. When I asked, I found out he said you knew about Bok Nuok High's story and said he wanted to settle accounts with him. I opened my mouth to explain but was interrupted by Lai Tuet. Tin Van, Bok Nuok Hai has never been a good person. Before, my father and I didn't intervene because she hadn't done anything to hurt you. This time you were harmed, and your safety was involved. Me and my father couldn't stand by and watch. The person who attacked her was not only Truck Tam. My sister and father also sent someone, just not as fast as Truck Tam. Tin Van, Truck Tam's feelings for you far surpass anyone else's. It's okay if you don't like him, but I beg you don't hurt him anymore. He's waiting for you at the door. Do you want to go down to see him or not? Think for yourself. I was stunned, my eyes were swollen, I was in tears. Lai Tuet looked at her younger brother like that, feeling extremely sad in her heart, reaching out to hug me. Don't cry, if you don't want to see him, that's fine. I'll go tell him. I grabbed Lai Tuet's hand and sniffed. Second sister, I told him I wanted to settle accounts with him. It's not like that. What I mean is that he hit people without me even though I was with him. I'm a bit sad. I have to teach this kind of scum myself to be satisfied. Hearing my jokes, Lai Tuet burst out laughing. You there, halfway through the conversation, are you trying to scare someone to death? You almost scared him to death. He thought you were angry. Do you know that when I saw his miserable appearance, I felt very sorry for him? I raised my hand to wipe away the tears that had not yet fallen to the corners of my eyes. Okay, hi. You go. If you don't come home tonight, I'll tell your parents for you, tell them not to worry. Having finished speaking, I quickly let Lai Tuet out and ran downstairs. I saw the car parked in front of the villa gate, so I quickly ran over and sat in the back seat. As soon as I saw Tam Truck Tam, her eyes were red and her face was sad. I couldn't help but hug her and gently said, Truck Tam, I have something to tell you. Let's go to the North Institute, shall we? She instinctively agreed. Tam Dyke drove back to Back Veen. The whole way, we kept hugging each other. A moment later, the car stopped in the geyser of Back Veen. We took the elevator to the first floor. As soon as I got home, I immediately lay down on the sofa. At this time, Tam Truck Tam changed his shoes and went into the kitchen. A few minutes later, she brought out a cup of hot milk and placed it in front of me. I pulled her hand, signaling her to sit down. Tam Truck Tam picked up a cup of hot milk and put it in my hand. Drink a cup of hot milk first. Later, when you go out at night, dress warmly so you don't catch a cold. Hearing her caring words, the emotions I had been suppressing along the way finally burst out. Tears kept falling on the back of Tam Truck Tam's hand. They were just warm tears, but Tam Truck Tam's heart felt like it was burned. It hurt so much that he couldn't breathe. She raised her hand to wipe my tears, but stopped at the corner of my eye, sadly saying, Tin Van, sorry. If you don't like me interfering in your business, I won't do it again in the future. Don't be angry. I couldn't bear it anymore and hugged her tightly. Idiot, I'm not angry. I said I wanted to settle accounts with you because you handled people without me coming along. They lied to me and took advantage of me. I won't let them off that easily. Having finished speaking, I slowly let her go. Besides, your people beat you too lightly. She can even send you messages and listen to my complaints. Tam Truck Tam breathed a sigh of relief. She took a tissue from the table and gently wiped my face. Then I'll take you with me when I deal with her later. I finally smiled. Smiling with satisfaction, he lifted Tam Truck Tam's face and gently caressed it. If anything happens in the future, just tell me frankly, don't be sad. If Hai didn't say it, I wouldn't know you misunderstood. Having finished speaking, I pretended to glare at her. Do you hear me clearly? Tam Truck Tam was made happy by my expression, the love in his eyes could not be hidden. She raised her head to look at me, softly kissed me on the lips. I saw her stop, picked her up, and walked quickly toward the upstairs bedroom. I gently placed her on the bed, kissed the corners of her mouth and eyes, then stood up. She grabbed my sleeve, her face was red, her eyes shining. "You're so shy that I almost can't control myself anymore. You go to sleep first, I'll go take a shower." She lowered her head and looked down at her chest. "Am I not attractive enough?" She lay on the bed, deep in thought, occasionally looking towards the bathroom. Half an hour later, the sound of water in the bathroom stopped. The door opened, she stared at me, my hair was still wet, drops of water flowed from my neck down my chest, down my abs, finally falling around my waist. She couldn't help but look dumbfounded. I finished changing, walked out of the dressing room, saw her still dazed on the bed, so I walked over and gently pinched her small, rosy face. "Go to sleep." Seeing that I had no intention of going to bed, Tam asked in surprise, "Aren't you sleeping?" I sat next to the bed and gently said, "Wait until you fall asleep and then I'll go to the next room to sleep." Hearing that, Tam moved his position. "I can't sleep if I'm alone." Looking at her flustered appearance, I smiled fondly at her, then lifted the blanket and lay down. "Okay now? Go to sleep." Looking at her sleeping soundly in my arms, I felt extremely satisfied. I hugged her tighter and quickly fell asleep. The next morning, on the big bed where the two of them were sleeping, Tam slowly opened his eyes. Whether she goes to work or not, her biological clock is always on time. Remembering what happened yesterday, she felt very satisfied and happy. She carefully sat up, afraid of waking me, then went into the next room to wash her face. Then she went downstairs to prepare breakfast. While making breakfast, Tam called someone to bring my clothes. Returning to the room, seeing that I was still sleeping soundly, she leaned down and kissed my ear. "Tin Van, wake up and have breakfast." I was very upset when I was woken up and threw my arms up. "Do you still want to sleep?" Tam reacted quickly, grabbed the small hand that was waving towards her, and lovingly kissed the back of my hand. "Are you comfortable? After breakfast, then go back to sleep." Being bothered so much that I couldn't stand it, I slowly opened my eyes and looked into her loving eyes. "Put your hands out, let's hug." Tam of course will not refuse. She wishes she couldn't be with me every day. "Go wash your face first. I've made delicious food for you. After eating, go back to sleep." After washing my face, I sat down to eat, stuffing my mouth with food. She smiled and wiped the corner of my mouth. "Eat slowly, be careful of choking." I smiled. "Tam, your cooking is so delicious. What should I do if I get addicted?" Tam smiled and said, "Then I will cook for you every day from now on." I winked at her, smiling mischievously. "We're not together again. I can't be late every day." She was engrossed in thinking about what I just said, not realizing the emotions in my eyes. "After we get married, we can be together every day." Tam did not hide his feelings. She always wanted to marry me. I bowed my head to eat, suppressing a smile. Is this a forced kiss? This is going too far. Tam is so smart, how could he not realize the meaning in my words? She didn't answer, just continued to give me food, occasionally eating a few bites herself. I lazily leaned on the sofa, occasionally laughing. After cleaning up the dining table, Tam looked at me sitting on the sofa. She sat down next to me, lazily leaned against the back of the chair, smiled and asked, "What makes you laugh so happily?" I lay down, resting my head on her lap. what did I do to Konathan last night? Looking at my curious expression, she lowered her head and told me what happened last night. Her warm breath blew into my ear, my breathing became more and more rapid. I turned my head and kissed her lips. He even intentionally sucked hard, making her moan softly. Tam became even more nervous. She lay on top of me, almost unable to hold back. Lai Tin Van, did anyone tell you that men are not allowed to tease women? Especially the one who loves you. She stood up, not daring to stay any longer, her voice hoarse. I'm going to the study room to work for a while. Don't you say you're tired? Go ahead and get some sleep. No, let's go out to eat. Having finished speaking, she hurriedly ran upstairs to the study room. I sat in the living room and couldn't help but laugh. Truck Tam, are you shy? Hearing laughter downstairs, she stood at the top of the stairs, helplessly shaking her head. At Lai T Group, Lai Tuet sat in the office, recalling what happened last night. She and Tam are both workaholics, but currently Tam is luckier than her. Her younger brother was already eyeing her. The woman's graceful figure looked lonely at this moment. Elsewhere, the phone rang continuously. Konat then raised his hand to rub his eyebrows, picked up the phone on the bedside table, stopped without looking, and knew who it was. Immediately pick up the phone. Kobak Tan's worried voice rang out. Sister, why are you only answering the phone now? The other end of the line was silent. You're not home yet? Last night, after you dropped me off, didn't you already go home? Konat then said, going home sick and drinking a little, but forgot. What's wrong? After his initial hangover, he was in a bit of pain and his voice was also hoarse. Tin Van said, Tam wants to take him to Ban Noyet Loan, asking if we want to go with him. Ban Noyet Loan is a newly opened hot spring resort on the outskirts of the city, recently in the trial run phase. It's cold out, how about we go out together? Konat then replied, I know, I'll come pick you up later. Ms. Konat then hung up the phone and lay on the bed for a while. The message sounded. He picked up the phone and saw the group chat planning to pursue Tin Van. In the past, they set up a chat group for Tam. Later on, they would announce anything in the group. Lai Tuet took Tin Van to Ban Noyet Loan to play. Are you guys going? Lai Tuet, general manager of Lai T, is standing in front of the ground-level window, looking down at the city landscape. Hearing the phone ringing continuously behind her, at first she was not interested in going, but when she saw the person she missed day and night appear, a meaningful smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. The prey has appeared. Recently I haven't gone out, just stayed at home to design Lai T's latest winter-themed jewelry collection. It's about to be launched. As the main designer of Lai T's buy-in, I also have to submit a new design work. Many people have never met Lai T's main designer, but are all surprised by my work. Even though I have never appeared, no one dares to change my position. After that, I received a phone call from the entertainment company manager, saying that next week there was a big Chinese music concert. I'm in high tea, hope I can participate. After being resurrected, my mind has changed a lot. I no longer feel uncomfortable when appearing in public, and I no longer hate other people's eyes staring at me. On the contrary, now I really want the whole world to know me. Lai Tin Van, a Lai Van, worthy of Tam. However, there are happy people and there are also sad people. After the cooperation with Tam T was cancelled last time, many people knew that Tam T refused to cooperate with Vong T. There are also many companies that openly refuse to cooperate with them. Many unfinished projects have been stalled. Vong Fu walked back and forth in the office, worried and restless. The assistant walked in. Vong Tong, I have found out. I asked friends who were close to Tam T to ask about them. I heard from their insiders that because the last time the general manager came to Tam T, he accidentally said something and offended the great young master of the Lai family. Tam Tong was very angry. It was all because I pampered him too much. The little lady who liked Tam T secretly sent someone to spread rumors about getting married to Tam T. I didn't stop her. Tam T didn't deny it either. I thought this would work out, but I didn't expect it to be a misunderstanding. Vong Fu knew that if he offended Tam Truck Tam, he could still redeem himself. Even losing several projects will only cause Vong T heavy losses. But now that she has offended the young master of the Lai family, Vong T is afraid she won't be able to last much longer. These past few days, in addition to drawing designs at home, I also practiced the piano in the music room. The performance time was getting closer and closer. I was afraid that I hadn't practiced for a long time, so in the evening I was in my small study arranging designs to send to Lai T, when my phone rang on the table. "Baby, what are you busy with? Don't you have time to come find me?" Since the two became intimate, Tam Truck Tam became more and more attached to each other. I suspect Tam T is about to go bankrupt. A CEO like her has more free time than me. I didn't reply to the text message but sent a voice message. "You there? I have a performance. Are you free to come?" She video called me immediately. "Baby, I miss you already." Looking at her in the video, her eyes reveal a hard-to-detect tiredness and her voice is plaintive. "Are you still at the company? I've been very busy lately and there's a project that's having some problems. I have to work overtime these days." "What time is this and that performance?" 9 p.m. I'll reserve a spot for you then." I saw a bit of pain under her deep eyes. "Haven't you slept well these past few days? Go home and rest, we'll see each other the day after tomorrow." Seeing me frowning worriedly, Tam Truck Tam was overjoyed. Staying up all night for a few days could exchange for my concern, it was worth it. "I'll go home now, I'll call you when I get home." After hanging up the phone, taking advantage of Tam Truck Tam's return home, I got up to take a shower. After waiting for nearly an hour, I was so sleepy that I was about to fall asleep when the phone rang as expected. I quickly picked up the phone. "Why are you coming home now?" "From here to Bac Vien is not far, the drive is only about 20 minutes, even if there's traffic jam, it won't take an hour." After showering, I almost fell asleep. Truck Tam listened to me tell me what had happened in the few days we hadn't seen each other, and the fatigue in Tam Truck Tam's heart disappeared. A long while later, the sound of my steady breathing was heard on the other end of the line. She smiled fondly and gently said, "Good night, I love you." After hanging up the phone, remembering that I said there was a performance the day after tomorrow, she immediately called Tam Dyke to instruct someone to check the opera house and send a few more people to wait around the opera house. The four great families have many enemies, and their women also have some support. No one dares to touch them easily. But this is the first time Tin Van has appeared in public. We cannot joke about its safety. After the advice, her mood was much better. Feeling tired and sleepy came on. She really hasn't slept well these past few days. Putting down the phone, lying on the bed thinking about the boy she loved, she fell asleep. Time passed quickly, the day of the performance finally arrived. Because of my identity, Tu Tun, my manager, took the makeup and costume team straight to the Lai family. "Have you thought carefully? Will you appear with your real face this time? Aren't you afraid?" Before I could finish my sentence, I interrupted. "Tu Tun, don't worry. With the background of the Lai family, no one dares to touch me. Before, I was bothered, but now it's different. I have to try to become someone worthy of him. It's up to you." I've already arranged bodyguards. This performance is very important. I hope nothing unexpected will happen. After finishing my makeup, I went into the dressing room and changed into my performance clothes. The babysitter's car was waiting downstairs. After getting ready, we went to the big theater first to prepare for the performance. Not far from the Lai family's house, there was a black commercial vehicle parked. The man in the car stared at the departing nanny car with fierce eyes. He clutched the steering wheel, his face contorted. He is Vong Qian, second young master of the Vong family. Investors withdrew capital recently. Vong Tiling continuously looked for banks to borrow money, but no bank dared to confront the judge. Watching his father grow old, watching Vong Ti's stocks collapse, his hatred towards me rose to the extreme. He waited a whole week without a chance to meet me. A few days ago, a man called him, "Do you hate Lai Tin Van?" "I hate it too, we have a common enemy. Do you want to cooperate?" Vong Qian is not stupid. At the age of 20, she was able to sit in the position of director of Vong Ti. He also has certain abilities. Why should I believe you? Do you have a defense against Lai Tin Van? Do you want to use it to kill someone? You have calculated it too carefully, Mr. Vong. We have a common goal. I know you like Tam Truck Tam, so do I. But I know I don't deserve her, only a talented person like Mr. Vong deserves her. You know yourself too, tell me, what do you want me to do? These words made Vong Qian very happy. He has a blind love for Tam Truck Tam. Saying you love is not as good as saying you want to conquer. He just wants to have this woman. After hanging up the phone, a cruel look appeared on Vong Qian's face. Tran Trake looked at the bank transfer information and smiled. In the past, many people wanted to say that Lai Tin Van's life was dead. Have you made the arrangements yet? Don't let any mistakes happen. Next to me, a woman's voice rang out. If I were there, I would recognize it immediately. That's Bok Nuok Hai. Her face was full of anger. He sent me a text message, saying he wanted to make up. I thought he would come find me, but I didn't expect there was no news for a whole week. I sent someone to investigate and found out he had gone to a resort in the city. He was in a hospital bed, but I went out with that person. He's a woman, I can't swallow this anger. She still doesn't understand why the person who always listened to her suddenly changed. Tran Trake hugged her. Nuok Hai, don't worry. If it doesn't leave us in peace, we won't let it rest in peace either. Besides, aren't you still by my side? Tran Trake knows how to please others. Furthermore, he also truly likes Bok Nuok Hai. He has liked this woman for a long time. Before, saying he liked Tam Truck Tam was just because he was jealous of me. Why was I born a warm child of the Lai family? Why does a talented person like Tam Truck Tam fall in love with me? He's jealous of me. Thinking of this, Tran Trake wrapped his arms around Bok Nuok Hai and kissed her. He knows how to please this woman. Not long after, Bok Nuok Hai couldn't bear it anymore. At the Opera House, the 2,000-seat auditorium was almost full. Many people heard that the piano prodigy would also take the stage. A lot of people came for him. VIP positions are almost all chosen by people from the 4 major families. Tam Truck Tam stood at the theater door, calling to warn people to pay close attention, especially the Vong family's people. Recently, the Vong family has had many problems. I'm afraid that someone will be reckless and act rashly. There are a lot of people coming today, maybe someone will blend in. Cannot be neglected. Okay, let's go, the show is about to start. Tam Jun nodded at Tam Truck Tam. She just entered the theater. The theater was originally dark, but suddenly the stage lights lit up. The sound of a cello rang out. After the prelude, the sound of 6 people's violins rang out. While everyone was listening passionately, the music suddenly stopped. A ring of light shines down on the stage. A man in a black suit appeared. In front of me is a piano. I'm so handsome that it's shocking. My appearance caused the chatter to suddenly stop. Everyone was talking loudly. Is this the piano prodigy? The sound of the piano resounds. The song pressed Alice, symbolizing love. Many people think that only the cello can express the touching feeling of this music. But in my eyes, piano can also breathe life into this music. Everyone was captivated by my music. There has only been one woman since I appeared, whose eyes have never left me. Her eyes are virtuous, but the smile on her lips never fades. Only Tam Truck Tam clearly understood that her tin van was confessing his love to her. Her memories and years of unrequited love all disappeared into nothingness. No one noticed a tear falling from the corner of her eye. At this moment, she felt like the happiest person in the world. The music ended and everyone stood. Standing up, clapping non-stop, all the performers stood in front of the stage and bowed to the audience. There were also people who prepared flowers to give to the artists on stage. Suddenly, a beautiful woman walked up to me, holding a bouquet of flowers. I smiled happily. Everyone in the stands was stunned. Those who can come to this concert are people of status. Someone recognized this woman as Tam Truck Tam, the eldest lady of the Tam family, general manager of Tam Tea, who was also known as Ba Tran. Many reporters competed to take photos. The moment Tam Truck Tam stepped on stage, this was breaking news. What made everyone even more surprised was that the piano prodigy was Lai Tin Van, from the young master of the Lai family, 5 years old. Hot searches are all news about the two of them. General Director of Tam Tea, Tam Truck Tam, personally presented flowers to the piano prodigy. The piano prodigy uses the sound of the piano to confess his love to General Manager Tam Tea, Tam Truck Tam, and the Lai family's Grand Master, Lai Tin Van. About to get married. Oe Bo was almost paralyzed. The man in the corner of the room clutched the phone, his face distorted. Looking at the two embracing each other on stage, she even kissed the man in front of everyone. Everyone has returned backstage, the audience is ready to leave. He immediately called, preparing to take action. I went backstage, went to the break room to change clothes, and left my phone on the table. Tam Truck Tam waited outside for a long time but did not see me come out. Feeling restless in my heart, I immediately ran backstage and waited at the door. The others also felt something was wrong and immediately chased after them. She went to the break room, only to see the phone on the table. Looked everywhere but couldn't find me. The people who came later saw this and immediately asked, "What's going on? What kind of business is your pain-in-the-ass Tin Van doing? If such a big person is lost, let someone search for it at any cost. Even if high tea is turned upside down, she must be found." Tam Truck Tam trembled and called Tam Ju, who was waiting outside the door. "Your eyes are drooping, your whole body radiates cold air. There are surveillance cameras here. I've sent someone to investigate. Lai T's people are also looking. Lai Tuet Si is not happy, but that's her younger brother, she can't panic. Loi Lana and the late Nopthan are both on the phone." Lo Tu Mat cried until her eyes turned red, she covered her mouth, sobbing. Ko Bak Tan kicked the wooden box next to him. "Who is so bold, daring to kidnap Tin Van? If I didn't kill him, I wouldn't be Ko Bak Tan." Tam Truck Tam remembered something and called Fong Tu Hai.